So after all the daydreaming and searching online, you have finally found the house that you think is it for you, and you are ready for a walkthrough. When you get to that house, you are going to be so tempted just to open that front door and let the house talk to you. However, I'm going to challenge you to ask some of the hard questions up front. So let's start from the beginning. Before you do that walkthrough, one of your realtor's hard questions is going to be to ask you, are you pre-approved for a loan? Everybody needs a pre-approval, otherwise you're wasting not only your time, your selling realtor's time, the listing realtor, and that homeowner's time. You need to know if you can actually buy this house. Please be respectful of everybody involved in that process. Also, pre-approval is going to give you a general amount of what you are qualified to purchase. So before you even set foot in the door and perhaps fall in love with something that you can't afford, let's make sure that that door is proverbially open to you financially. Also, as your real estate agent, I'm going to want to know, what's your timeline for buying? Are you realistically ready to purchase a home and put in an offer if we go look at this house today? I'm ready to take you, but again, I want to know where you are realistically with our market and how fast or slow it may be moving if you have a chance at getting this home we're going to look at. All right, so before you go on that walkthrough, you have narrowed down a house that you love. I want you to work with your realtor to get some questions answered before you go to the house. So one of those questions that may seem a little intrusive, but that's the job. I want you to ask, why are the homeowners selling the house? Like, why are they moving out? Because you can establish some of their motivations, and motivations determine need or lack thereof. Let's just say the homeowner is a military member and they're PCSing. They've got to be out of the house and paying on a mortgage on another house in the next month. These guys are going to be motivated sellers and willing to work with any potential buyer. Now, let's say it's a condo that someone's not quite sure they're really ready to sell, but they want to throw it out there on the market and see what they can get. This seller might, in fact, have their heels dug in, and they are going to want no less than what they have their house listed for. So just simply asking this question can give you some sort of idea of what you're working with as a motivation of the seller. Also, I want you to be aware there are questions that you're going to want to ask that your realtor, by law, according to the Fair Housing Act, cannot answer, okay? So some of this information, like, is there a lot of crime in the neighborhood? You know, what is the school ratings? These type of things, a realtor cannot give you any sway to live in one neighborhood or another. So do your own homework. Most of this information is available online, but just be aware your realtor cannot answer those questions for you. All right, the second question I want you to ask before walking into that house is, how much is the house worth? Is it actually worth what the seller has listed it as? Again, your realtor should be able to help you with this. Ask them to run some comps for you and say, is this what houses are typically selling for in this neighborhood? All right, question number 3, before you actually take a walkthrough, and you should be able to find this on the actual listing of the house, is how many days has this house been on the market? So why this is important, one, in that you need to work with a realtor, a local realtor is going to know the trends of how quickly a house is moving in the particular market that you're shopping in. But also, if a house has been on the market for an excessive amount of days to what is typical, for instance, right now we're about 3 months for a house to sell here in Destin, which is a little slow in comparison to the last couple of years. If that house has been sitting on the market for, 90 days, 100 days, that's going to tell you that, you may potentially be working with a seller that's not quite motivated to sell, or there may be some issues with the house that are undesirable. It's just a jumping point. It's not a deal breaker. It's a jumping point for questions, okay? And these are the hard, sticky questions we want you to dig into. Number 4, I just want you to hear me say there are no stupid questions, and if you don't ask, you'll never know the answer to. I want you to ask how much the homeowner is currently currently paying in their utilities. I want to know their internet bill. I want to know their electricity bill. I want to know how much they're paying for a pest and termite service. Huge deal. I want you to ask about your taxes, and your insurance is massive right now. Then ask if any of those utilities are transferable to a new buyer, okay? And always be aware that taxes are always going to be assessed here in Florida on the new home purchase. So whatever that current homeowner is paying, it will be different at a taxable rate to what you purchased the home at. And the fifth question I want you to ask before you go into a walkthrough of a home is there an HOA? How much is that HOA going to cost me? And what exactly does that expense, my money, pay for within this HOA? It can really add up. All right, turn the page. All the before questions that are not as fun have been answered, but they are very important. Now you finally get to go walk through that house. What exactly should you be looking for in that home? Well, number one that I want you to be looking for is what needs to be fixed or upgraded. And I want you to be nosy and handsy. I don't necessarily want you digging through people's files. I'm not encouraging you to do that. I do want you to manhandle drawers. I want you to open drawers. I want you to open cabinets. I want you to open the appliances and look inside the dishwasher and move the shelf. I want you to turn on the water in the faucets. I want you to run the shower. I want you to flush the toilet, because these are all going to be stories. All of these things are going to tell you something about a home. Do not be afraid to walk in that house and pretend like it's yours for your initial walkthrough. Number two, when you're going through the walkthrough, this can be a before question and may in fact need to be a before question, but find out the age of the major components of a house. Sometimes this question triggers for you when you're walking through the house and you can look at the HVAC system and it looks ancient, but we do want you definitely to be asking, what is the age of the roof, of the air condition and heating system, the water heater. You can even go into the age of the appliances if that is important to you. Question number three, we want you to ask and be looking for when you're walking through a home is, what is sold with this home? The Florida Fire Bar contract actually does lay out what specific type of things, like light fixtures that are fixed to the walls, any window treatments, that those are included in a sale at the time of a walkthrough. However, the seller can in fact disclude. So they can go in and say, I am not selling the chandelier in the dining room with the home. It will be replaced with a like kind or Home Depot version. So just be aware, if you're walking through a house and there's, a chandelier or a fan light fixture that you're like, oh my God, this is the cutest thing. I need this to be with the house. You make sure that that is not stricken from the contract. Make sure that it is included in the sale of the purchase. Also, be looking for things that you're going to need to purchase. Is it a huge backyard? Are you going to need, patio furniture? Will your couch fit? Do I need an extra bedroom set? Do I have too many? All of these things do add up financially. The fourth thing that we want you to look for in a walkthrough is the light that comes into a house. So I personally, light is a big deal to me, and I have made decisions on purchasing a house based on how much light was in the house. But with electricity bills being so high these days, it would be important to know how much sun is on your house throughout the day and how much electricity and air condition in Florida you're going to be paying. So again, back to that previous question, how much are these current homeowners paying in utility bills? And are they keeping, when you walk through, is the temperature that they're keeping the house at a comfortable level for you? Are you going to be using more or less of that AC? The fifth thing we want you to look for in a house when you're walking through it is, are renovations possible? The question I ask myself is can I see it? Like, can I see us living here? And the last house that we purchased, I really had to take a lot of time in the living room and think about what I would change to make it more comfortable for me and our lifestyle for our family. A part of that was going to be to take out a wall. Now I have to think, is that wall actually a load-bearing wall? Can I take it out? Some of these questions you're not going to have answered initially. Maybe you can bring in a contractor later in another walkthrough of the home and get an actual assessment of that. But you always need to ask the future questions and then come back. For myself, what I ended up having to ask, can I live with it now like it is? And to be honest, I love it. Like, it's worked out just fine for my family. And the sixth question and the final question we want you to be looking for on one of those initial walkthroughs is the drainage. Where does water sit around this house? An important thing for us here in Florida are, what is the flood zone? So this should be a question that you should be answering either before you make an offer, is what is that flood zone on the property? But kind of a rule of thumb that I use personally is never buy the lowest house in the neighborhood, because there's going to be some sort of drainage system, and when a storm comes through, whether it's tropical storm or monsoon season, all that water is going to go to the lowest house in the neighborhood, to that drainage system. So keep this in mind. Look at where the water flows and how it flows away from your house or to the house. It could be a deciding factor. Hey, I want to give a special thanks to author Michael Burge, who wrote an article entitled "How Can You Make the Most of an Initial Walkthrough?" And I want to thank NerdWallet for posting this article on their website. This video has been fashioned from that. It was excellent information, and I thought all of our customers here at Beach Living with Jen and Steph could really benefit from it. So thank you. The home buying process can be super overwhelming. There are so many steps and processes to go through. We really do hope that you are working with a trusted real estate agent. If not, give Jen and I a call. We also post new videos every Thursday, and we'll see you then.